to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We greatly appreciate it. Tuesday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comments down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. I found this article and I wanted to bring it to you tonight here on this Tuesday evening. Now, this is not a top 10 countdown, even though it is 10 questions. It is not this week's top 10 countdown. Of course, that's always on a Wednesday. If we do one, it's just 10 burning questions. And I found this, and it pertains to college football. And it's, I guess you could say, the 10 burning questions heading into the season. And of course, most of it is about, the big time, Power 4 teams. Not all of the questions are about the big Power 4 teams, but most of them are. And it's questions that'll soon be answered once the season starts. So you could call it 10 burning questions, 10 important questions, whatever you want to call it. But number one is Alabama's Keelan Russell the most important player of 2026? Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did a video where I ran down the predicted win totals, the over-unders for every one of the Power 4 teams. And I did it by conference. And it was all in one video. But if memory serves, in that video, Alabama's only picked to win, I believe, 7.5 games, which is shocking because you think about Bama being a powerhouse, top 5, top 10 borderline team. Well, obviously, if they go 7-5 or 8-4, they're not a top 10 team this year. But Keelan Russell, by all accounts, is going to be their quarterback in 2026. And so, of course, he's going to be the most important player. But, are they picked to win 7.5 games because people don't think he's very good? Or are they picked to win 7.5 games because there's not enough talent around him? Because even if he's a great quarterback, they've got to have something around him. But, can Keelan Russell be good enough to get Bama past the 7.5 win total? Even if they go 8-4, that's going to be a disappointment. But 8-4 is better than 7-5. Number two is, does Oregon have whatever it lacked in 24 and 25? Because, hey there, Violetta, glad to have you here. Hey there, Layla, glad to have you here. Now, we're used to Oregon being a top 5, top 10 team, and they've been top 5 or top 10 the last 2 years. But you could watch them play, and you knew that, well, they're ranked high because they're really good, and they're ranked high because they're winning, but they don't have what it takes to win a national championship. So this question is pretty much saying, whatever it was they lacked, do they have it now? Because, yeah, they're still a top 5, top 10 team, but you can watch them play, and they're no threat to win a national title, whereas in the past, you watched them play and you thought, okay, they could win this whole thing. No, Layla, I do not. I have never played that one time in my life. I have no idea how to play it. My kids have played it, but I couldn't tell you how to even get on the website to play the game. I have not played any kind of a game, video game, computer game, anything in 30 years. I've played a couple of board games, but that's been about it. I never could sit still long enough to play any kind of video game or computer game. Number three, this is a statement and a question. It seemed like USC was building for 2026. Well, it's 2026. Is this the year? You can go back to 2 years ago. Lincoln Riley was doing, press conferences, and he was saying, hey, 2026 is going to be our year. We're building for a couple of years down the road. we're looking at a couple of years down the road. Well, now, you're here. So now if you're Lincoln Riley, you have to at least make the playoffs and contend. Otherwise, your superiors can say, look, we waited all this time for you to say you're building for 26, and now it's 26, and you're no better than you were last year and the year before that. So is this a year for USC? We'll find out. They're definitely going to be better on defense, but I'm not sure their offense is going to be good enough. Number 4, and you have to listen to this question very closely or it can be confusing, but I'm going to read it the exact way that it was written. Does Georgia have playmakers, or is this another blue chip service academy offense? And the reason why I say listen closely, because you hear blue chip service academy offense and you think, oh, so we're going to run the option like the service academies? No, that's not what it means. What it's saying is blue chip obviously means, 5-star players all over the field. And they're saying service as in blue chip service as in getting players to the NFL. And it's meaning academy offense like just a pedestrian offense, because the last couple of years Georgia's been really good and they've had a really good offense, but they just haven't had the right players in the right positions. Of course, they're Georgia. They're always going to have 5-star talent at every position every year. They always do. But it's like they had good running backs, but you didn't have one that you would trust to give the ball to 25, 30 times a game. You had good receivers, but you didn't have one that you would trust in a 2nd and long or 3rd and long. So obviously Georgia has playmakers, but do they have the right playmakers at the right time? It doesn't mean service academy offense like they're going to run the option. That's not going to happen. Number 5, what does Pete Golding Ole Miss look like? Because that's a question nobody can answer, because yeah, we know Pete Golding was on the staff, but outside of coaching the bowl game, Pete Golding wasn't the head coach. And for the most part, for now, he has, Lane Kiffin left him. But being an assistant coach, whatever kind you are, whether you're offense, defense, special teams, whatever you are, that's a lot different than being the head coach. Now that he's the head coach, with all the talent he's got, can Ole Miss be a top 10 team this year? Or, by Halloween, we're going to say, well, Ole Miss is now an afterthought. Number 6 is, are we underestimating BYU again? And that's the question, because, hey there, Cole. Glad to have you here on this Tuesday evening. And Cole, I think you're new to the channel. If you are, for whatever reason made you stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. But that's the question, because every year we always say, and of course I don't mean we as in me, I mean we as in just college football fans in general. Thank you, Cole, for subscribing. Thank you very much. I mean we as in just the overall totality of football fans, because every year it seems like BYU is one of those teams that no matter how much they win, we still convince ourselves they're not good. I mean, this past year it was Halloween time and they're still undefeated, and people are still saying they're underrated. Now, are they going to win a national championship? No, more than likely, probably not. But BYU is one of those teams and one of those programs that they can win 10 games every year, and then the very next year, when people start talking about good teams, BYU never gets talked about. Number 7 are Jaden Craig and Lincoln Kienholz, the 2 most interesting Power 4 quarterbacks heading into the season. Number 8 is, can Brian Hartline build a Power Conference roster at South Florida? And of course, we know South Florida generally is really, really, really good. And Brian Hartline, of course, played at Ohio State. He used to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Now he's the head coach of South Florida. If he has built a good enough relationship with players' families while he was in Columbus, Ohio, he may slowly start getting some of the high school kids in that area to go to South Florida. And South Florida's already good, so it's not like they need 50 five-star players to contend. They don't. So it will be interesting to see if Brian Hartline can build a power conference roster at South Florida. Number 9 is, does North Dakota State have what it takes? Because in case you haven't heard and don't know, North Dakota State is moving up to the FBS level this year, which I still call Division 1A, but it's FBS now. You know, they've been FCS forever, but they just dominated so much, and they either won the national championship every year or made it there and lost or got beat in the quarterfinals every year. So they were pretty much dominating on the FCS level, so it made it no fun to watch if you're a fan of FCS football, because you knew more than likely come season end it was going to be North Dakota State, North Dakota State, North Dakota State. So they finally moved up, but do they have what it takes to compete at the FBS level? Because you don't want to just move up for the sake of, hey, we're dominating, let's move up. You want to move up and show people that we might have been an FCS team, but we're good enough to be an FBS team. Now, of course, I think they're going to the Mountain West Conference, so they're not going to be in a Power 4 conference, but still, even the Mountain West has some teams that were better than FCS teams. You know, James Madison moved up, and it hasn't affected them, but Georgia Southern moved up years ago, and they had 1 or 2 years, and ever since then, they struggle to reach a bowl game. So, you know, are they going to be somewhere between James Madison and Georgia Southern, or are they going to be worse than Georgia Southern, or are they going to be better than James Madison? And the 10th and final question is, has Old Dominion reloaded again? Because they've been a really, really, really good FBS team lately. Of course, nobody talks about them because they're still not, you know, in a Power 4 conference. But Old Dominion could probably beat about half the teams, if not more, in the Power 4 conference. They're really good. So have they reloaded again? I guess we'll find out coming up here in about 4 months and a week. We'll get the college football season underway. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. When is the best time to buy a trampoline? Springtime. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over. 3. Tell your friends and family.